We interrupt this previously scheduled podcast to bring you a different one. We have a different genre today than we were planning. DannyVNCR and Evan Halfmann, Red Llama here. How's it going, Evan? How you doing?
Hey.
Hey. Hey. How's it going? I'm doing good. Today, instead of doing synth pop, was that what we were going to be doing?
Synth pop.
We were going to be doing synth pop today. We are doing female fronted. We're going to waste no time getting into it with our first pick, Employed to Serve, the song Void Ambition off of The Warmth of a Dying Sun. How's it going, Evan?
Hey. Yeah, obviously kind of like picking up where we left off. I mean, with the metal, we had some thick metal last episode, and here we are with more thick metal. But this is a neat list because this is really this is a first. It's the first time we've really done like a theme instead of a genre.
Well, we did one-man bands once.
Yeah, but I think one-man band though, like I think when I chose one-man band, I think I had like the lo-fi genre in mind. Yeah, I didn't have like. Plus, one-man band can really. Well, I guess that can sound like a lot of different things. But I had a pretty clear like idea of what genre I was looking for. This is definitely like, well, as you'll hear.
Our three picks are radically different. Yeah. They are certainly not metal. This band is metal because
but I think well-rounded though. Different but well-rounded.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Evan, do you want to talk about why we decided to go with female fronted today instead of synth pop? And we're still going to do synth pop, but we're going to wait until next time. But why we did female fronted
Female
today.
Fronted, well, okay. So, we aren't big on talking about politics on the show, because it's not a political show. We are political people, for sure.
This is true.
But, you know, it's like,
follow
hey,
us on Twitter, you'll hear it.
Yeah. Well, there's a room for politics, there's a room for everything else, you know. But with the show, very seldom has it ever become an emphasis for us. But, recently things have been happening in our country, the United States of America, down south. And
the South.
I'm sure that most of you who are remotely politically aware have a trace of an idea of what we're talking about. It has to do with women's rights.
Yes.
Down in Alabama.
Frankly, I think that's, most of what it has to do with is women's rights. And that's exactly why we're doing female fronted today, because I thought, honestly, it was too fucking important, despite the fact that I try to avoid politics like the plague. I thought it was too important to not talk about what is going on in this country as it pertains to women's rights and bodily autonomy. It is fucking absurd, and it is despicable, the war that is happening over women's rights.
I think it's really important for.
And I frankly don't think I'm being dramatic by calling it a war.
You know, I think it's it is a war. Yeah, definitely. It's
absolutely.
It's kind of it's a cliche we hear every now and again. Well, okay, I won't necessarily say a cliche, but it's when you hear the phrase "women's rights are human rights." It's like you tend to think like, okay, maybe that sounds vague to you. Maybe that sounds obvious. Maybe it just sounds like maybe if you're one of a certain kind of person, you might think that it doesn't really have a meaning, and maybe it's just virtue signaling.
Or maybe it doesn't apply to me because I'm a fucking rich white man.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, this is just like completely true. I mean, it's to me. And to us, it's completely common sense. It is basic common sense that women should have the right to choose what they do with their bodies.
Period.
So that it's just that. It's common sense. It's not a political stance. Yeah. It's just common sense.
Or a religious stance, for that matter, which I don't really want to get into, but still, it's common sense. It's a woman's body. She should have the right to do with it what absolute ever she wants. Period.
And you know what? Like, I mean, I'll admit, I've had a rocky political journey over the past few years as a person. I've matured and grown in many different ways.
Proud of you, by the way.
Yeah. I used to dabble in the whole MRA sphere, and I used to get kind of close to the right, or the conservative side of this field, but then I realized, I think my human compassion really started to take over, and I realized this is just a matter of human rights and compassion.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of like, but it's right. It's we should have the right to control women's bodies. Yeah. I don't see how that ever could be someone's right.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I think there should be a huge point to be said, too, that despite the fact that to the people that were very close to you, you did kind of start leaning very heavily right. You're obviously not that way now, and you don't feel that way in this issue. And there's a huge point to be said that anybody could just simply view this as a fucking human's right issue, as a women's right issue, as exactly what it is. It doesn't matter what your fucking political views are. It doesn't matter what your religious views are. It's about women's rights. And frankly, two things that I want to say about it, because I think they're extremely important, is I think it's incredibly important for men to be talking about this. And I've seen a lot of women talking about it and not a lot of men talking about it. And that's a huge part of why I wanted to talk about it. Because I sure as shit don't have to be talking about this today. And I chose to because it's the right thing to do. Or I should say we chose to because it's the right thing to do. And historically, for the people who are oppressed by a system, the oppressors, in this case, rich white men, have never, ever listened to the oppressed. Which means it is very important for more of the oppressing class to speak up. So men really, really need to take the responsibility in this one. And I get that it's like, well, it's not a men's issue, it's a women's issue, but it's a fucking human rights issue. And frankly, I think that if you are the type of person who disagrees with schmishmorshmans and you think, well, this is a good thing, I think that they should be illegal or there should be a punishment for them. One, even if you thought that, the system that is being created is far too fucking severe and vague. So there should be a huge argument to be said there in and of itself, but I'll abstain from that right now. It should scare the shit out of you to think that if your government can just take away this basic human right so easily, what else are they going to take? That's going to be the end. That's for the fucking people, the conservative people that always talked when it came with fucking gay rights, talking about marriage equality and saying, well, if we let the gays get married, it's a slippery slope. We're going to want to marry fucking horses and ghosts next and shit. It's like, this doesn't sound like a fucking slippery slope.
Well, let me just say this. When I was dabbling in my old...
Obviously, I don't feel that way towards marriage equality. Fucking people should marry whoever they want to marry. But goddamn, if you want to talk about what a real slippery slope looks like, talk about fucking basic human rights.
Let me just talk about one of the most egregious offenders in this modern, like specifically YouTube political sphere, Dave Rubin. Such a fucking gross person at this point. But okay, so I remember when I used to dabble in his content, and I used to think he was halfway decent.
Because he'll talk with anyone.
Oh, he'll talk with anyone. And so specifically, I'm thinking of an episode of his show he did with Dennis Prager, who, if you have any idea who that person is, you'll know that he is just a fucking religious zealot. He's an old, rich, white man religious zealot. It's as simple as that. But this man, and if you know Dave Rubin, you'll know that he's a gay man. And
it's true.
Dave Rubin being such a fucking pushover, he was actually, for one of the first times in his like and on his platform actually trying to challenge some of Dennis Prager's ideas and say, well, hey, I think, what about the idea of gay marriage being, like, why don't you think that it's okay for a man and a man to get married? And Dennis Prager, out of just his blind fucking loyalty to this sanctity of marriage or what have you, his answer is just, well, it's exactly that. It's like, well, it's a slippery slope. We have to preserve certain traditions in this country, because if we let certain traditions slip into this, then what's going to say that we're going to, other things might get more severe.
It's just fucking amazing to me that the same people who use the logic that is a slippery slope, marriage equality is a slippery slope, don't think fucking bodily autonomy and human rights are? How the fuck does that work?
To me, it's like, how fucking hard is it just to say like, you know what? I will concede that my opinion that gay people should not be allowed to get married is cruel and hurtful, and so I will give up that opinion because it hurts people.
Sure, that too.
And but it's like they clearly have like a compassion blocker in their heart that blocks them from showing compassion to other people in the world.
And I think that's very similar to what's going on now, but I think it's honestly, frankly, more of a fucking control. If the fucking government can control people hard enough and make people do what they want to do and follow the fucking lines,
to look at it the most
they can do whatever the fuck they want.
To look at it the most charitably, it's a lack of compassion. To look at it the least charitably, it's a form of complete control.
Total dominance. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why I think, frankly, the fact that, and I get that, there's going to be a lot of people that hear this that realistically say, like, well, this is all that people are talking about. It is all that people should be talking about. It should be no matter who you are. If you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're white, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're whatever, whoever you are, if you are able to understand the conversation that is happening, it should fucking terrify you that this is something that's going on at all. Not even that it was something that was being considered, which should also have scared fucking everyone, but this is something that is actually happening. Should literally terrify you. Because I know I fucking stay awake at night thinking about, like, what's next? There's no way this is the fucking end of the goddamn campaign.
Well, the worst part about it is that
and that's not to say that this part isn't bad enough, because it is. But anyways, please continue.
Well, the worst part too is that the people who are suffering the most are the people who are not like us, who, like, and by I mean me and my gracious co-host, we are white men.
Yep.
And we are the ones who are not going to be receiving any of this.
Yeah.
This is all happening to minorities.
Yep.
And it's sickening to think that we are so vehemently against these movements that are pushing minorities back, and all we can do is reap the consequences, which unfortunately it's gross. It's gross how we don't want to be a part of this, and we don't endorse it or condone it at all, but somehow we have to just accept that as if it were beneficial for us. But it's not. It's not beneficial for
get out there and
humanity.
Vote. That's the one thing I can say. Be a part of your local government, because everybody fucking knows the federal government. You can vote and you can try and you can push and bite and pull, but obviously the fucking electoral college has the ultimate say. But you realistically elect those people, elect a good governor, elect good senators. That's really about all I can say. Be politically informed and make your voice heard. That's what we're trying to do today, because frankly, it's I hope I never have to talk about politics on this fucking podcast again. Mm-hmm. And obviously I didn't have to today, but I felt very strong and compelled to, as Evan felt very passionate to go with me on this journey. Mm-hmm. But I frankly hope I never have to talk about politics again. I hope this is the one big fucking important thing, the end all be all, as it were. So that being said, That's why we're doing female fronted today, because today isn't about us fucking men, especially us fucking white men. But it's about the ladies. It's about the currently disenfranchised.
Yeah, and there's just another thing I thought of. I just wanted to put out there a special shout out, like a shout out to someone who is one of the worst offenders in this whole thing. Ben Shapiro is a disgusting fucking human being.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he is one of the biggest. He is one of the biggest people pushing for a very traditional, conservative, and fighting against, fighting for pro-life and pushing against abortion rights. I just, as a final word on this, I think back to when the opinion he likes to tell about on his platform, how he says,
but they're killing babies, Evan. They're killing babies.
Well, the thing is, he says, people talk about abortions like women should have the right to get abortions, but do they realize that what they do is they stick a tube up and they suck out the...
Evan, they literally crush babies' heads.
Yeah, basically what he's saying is that it's completely disgusting, it's gory and gross. Well, guess what? Women are the one who have to do these things. Men don't have that thing. That's not fucking fair. That his opinion is that, well, women are the ones who have to murder their babies.
Well, let's just say this too. Men's opinions don't have any fucking place on a woman's body. Period. It's your body. You do what you want with it.
It's not fucking fair that like women are very inordinately they have a much higher burden on just from birth. Yeah. Women have a much higher burden than men do, and so
it's an unfortunate thing.
I think society should start pushing towards. That's why I believe in feminism and not egalitarianism. Like
me too. 100%.
Because egalitarianism is such a fucking cop out.
Yep.
Such a cop out. Feminism is female dominance. No, it's about trying our hardest to level out the playing field a little bit.
It's about trying to take the things that are wrong for women and making them right. And it's not focusing about men, and that's what's
And
important.
in my opinion, I hear a lot of people say, but men suffer because of feminism. Well, if they do a little bit, then so what? Women suffer all the fucking time.
Frankly, fuck them. Yeah. I don't care who hears me say that.
If I have to suffer a little bit so that women get a little bit better chance in this world,
100%.
Whatever, I'm completely
okay
willing to take that.
Yeah, me too.
That's only fucking fair. So anyways,
I think, God forbid, one of the biggest fucking things that comes up all the time is the concept of, like, I hear all the time when it comes to like trans issues of people saying, but I have to learn so many more terms now. It's such an inconvenience to my life. Like, to make somebody feel normal and accepted is like such a fucking inconvenience. But you're a terrible human being. Like, objectively, if you are that fucking concerned about having to, like, if your trans friend tells you, oh, well, I want to go by Stephanie, or not I want to go by, like, I identify as a woman, I go by Stephanie now, and you're like, oh, I remembered you when you were Kevin. Like, that's how I remember you. Fuck you.
I know, to me, that's just like, that is, of course, it's pride. You don't want your pride to be wounded. And it's embarrassment. People hate being embarrassed. They hate feeling like they're doing something disrespectful or wrong, and so they turtle up and they put their fists up and they get defensive. And I think that's something that we as society need to.
People aren't fucking inconveniences. Jesus
we need to realize that, like, we need to be free and open to sometimes not being fucking correct all the time. So yes, if you misidentify 100%. Someone, or you misgender someone, or you it's just, to me, it's just like, it's like, I was again on Ben Shapiro just real quick, because I remember watching a Contra video, ContraPoints.
Yes.
Go watch ContraPoints channel.
Yeah, she's great.
Natalie Wynn. She's
Natalie
fucking awesome.
Imbruglia.
Natalie Imbruglia. She's amazing, and she makes incredible content, and she's very popular now. But go watch her content.
Also, hey,
Anyhow.
what's up, Natalie? We're big fans.
Yeah, I mean, give us a shout out.
She gives you a shout out every video because you support her on Patreon.
Yes, I support Natalie Wynn on Patreon.
You will see Evan's name at the end of her video.
Love you, Contra. Badass.
Me too.
Anyways,
Keep doing what you're doing.
she's a hero. She's a complete fucking hero. And what she's doing is so incredibly unique. But anyhow, so in fact, honestly, I'll say this right now. ContraPoints, Natalie Wynn is the reason I turned away from the right. It's the reason I turned away from being an MRA.
Well, if I can be specific, I'm asking for permission here. If I'm not mistaken, you were a bit of a fan of Blair White back in the day.
Yeah.
And you would watch Blair White's videos. And then there was one day where Natalie came on to a Blair White video and you went, well, you know, she has some really good points too. And then started watching her videos and went, wow, I've been looking at this completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, and
I pay attention.
I remember people saying like, I remember people in the comments being very unfair to ContraPoints and thinking, wow, this is just like, this is completely unfair. Like, she had a lot of really, really good arguments, but naturally, just like I am, just like a lot of people, she isn't a debate. She isn't a master debater.
Jesus Christ.
She isn't a cunning linguist. Well, at least at the time, to be fair, because she was just you know, burgeoning on her YouTube career, and so I thought, like, that's unfair to say that someone's point was incorrect when it's just because they were having a hard time articulating their point, especially with someone who is speaking over them. And so
You don't know anything about people speaking over you, do you?
So as I was saying though, like, I remember Contra pointed out something really interesting on her channel a few months back. She was talking about, I don't remember what episode it was, but she was talking about how Ben Shapiro so egregiously, like, he on purpose misgenders trans people, and that's just his thing. He's a provocateur. But the thing is,
a real bell end.
She pointed out a scenario or an instance on Joe Rogan's podcast in which they were talking about a trans character from or a trans actress who played on Orange Is the New Black, and how she became like this icon. She was on a magazine or something.
That's the song, by the way. Anybody who's wondering why we're not picking up our phone.
But and she pointed out that at one point in the in this interview or in this podcast, that Ben himself had correctly gendered this person and said, you know, she, but, and then after, like, about 2 seconds after he said she, he went, I mean he. So it's like,
yeah, he's obviously overtly trying. You're
overtly trying to harm people.
Yeah,
you're not like, and I think that's obviously it.
But there's a lot of people. I mean, I've met several people who are just like that, who just like overtly do not want to accept the concept. And
it's like, it was really like hilarious and amazing to see that pointed out, because that was such like a failure for Ben Shapiro, because that was his mask falling off for a second. You realize that, like, he's just being an asshole. He's not trying to make like a real legitimate point. He's just being a dick. He even refers to that person as a woman, because based on this person's appearance and actions and everything.
Right.
And but he is intentionally going out of his way to be an asshole. Yeah. And so I think that's what a lot of this comes down to. It's just a lot of older white men, rich white men.
Yeah. Much richer than I, but still plenty white like I am.
Mm-hmm. Richer and whiter.
I wouldn't say white,
orange,
I'm very white.
And red, because a lot of these people are kind of, you know,
Cheeto.
Asian orange. Anyways, this band fucking slaps.
Yeah, so now that we've talked about that for quite a bit, I feel very content in my discussion. let's talk about the band. This band is fucking sick. And I've been sitting on this band for a while, and it's unfortunate. So long so that they have another album coming out very soon. I can't remember what it's called, but it's very easy to look up. And I may do that here in a second. They're from the UK. This album fucking slaps. It's really good. And I've been waiting to include it on a post-hardcore list I wanted to do, but honestly, I just thought it was too important. It's too important to do female-fronted, so here we are. Let's see if I can find the release they got. If I click away, I think it's gonna...
I gotta say real quick, I read this comment down there that was, it's
Which
like, by Tim, the second one down, how it's like, absolutely great lyrics, an aggression that draws you in, and musical masterpieces. What do you want more? I'm never going to regret buying this on vinyl. So will you. Kind of an awkward...
Yeah.
Thing to
I
say.
get what he means.
Yeah,
like,
I know,
you
but
will also not regret buying this on vinyl, but like, yeah, it's a weird way to word
it. Should say, so won't you.
Yeah, you won't either. This band fucking kicks, though. I think it was a great way to start this list. I mean, their fucking name is Employed to Serve. They're a relatively political band. They talk a lot about like the burden of life, and I thought that was a phenomenal idea to talk about women's rights too. And I don't regret any of it. So take that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Or don't. I don't really care what you do. Just allow women to do what the fuck they want, please.
You know, honestly, yeah, there's not a lot like I can say that's like novel about this album, because I think really Steven Simpson up there in the first comment kind of puts it nicely. It's filthy, it's technical, it's bleak, and it's their best album. I haven't listened to like all their albums, so I wouldn't know about that last one, but
I think they only have the two currently. They have The Warmth of a Dying Sun, and then they have Employed to Serve.
well,
it's a split EP. That's dope. With a Ghost Orchestra. I'm definitely going to listen to that later.
yeah.
Oh, maybe I lied. It looks like they do have a few more of this shit. God damn.
What the hell is that?
Which one? This?
Bro.
Change nothing, regret everything. That's awesome.
Terrifying.
They're fucking sick. I'll probably be buying this album. I'll probably buy the next one when it comes out too. This band is sick. I fucking really enjoy this band. I love this band even. Employed to Serve.
Yeah. Yeah, man. This is definitely like when it comes to modern metal, I like it. I like it real thick and crunchy and technical, but like still raw. And yeah, this has definitely got like that metalcore vibe, but
dummy
like,
thick.
dummy thick. But it's not stuffed with a lot of fluff.
I'm not gonna finish that. I'm gonna leave that right where it is. So that being said, as much as I would love to talk about this band, I think we've been on this band for quite a while now. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next pick. Evan, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, so on with our next pick.
Yeah.
All right, so on to our next pick. We have Small Talks, a conversation between us, starting with Better For It. Now, this band is definitely more in the indie pop vein. I don't know what word I was looking for, but yeah, in the indie pop vein, which I'm a fan of, frankly, but
I like good
it's
vibes.
very different. Yeah. Now, this band I discovered in the correct way that I do. Granted, this was another band. All three of these bands I have known of for a little while, and I've just been trying to find the right place to put. But since listening to this band, I've actually kind of become friends with the singer. I wouldn't really say friends as much as we've had a few talks, a few small talks, if you will.
Oh my God.
I know I'm the worst. But she's cool people. Kaylee, what's up? And I'm very glad to showcase their music because it's really dope.
Their music.
I hate you so fucking much. Pretty sure she's heard her music plenty, you doofus.
Have you ever heard of this? Whoa.
Hey, you who made this music, have you ever heard this? This is crazy, right?
That's funny.
Although I don't have to worry about buying this one because I already have it on vinyl. Even.
Cool.
Yeah, they had a package deal, a pre-sale, and I bought the vinyl and I bought a shirt. I have both. And Evan's wearing a shirt for some reason. That's not true. He's wearing a Sub Pop shirt, like a dork.
I bought this at the Sub Pop store in the SeaTac airport when that just opened up. You know?
So yes, Small Talks, very cool. I like the sound a lot. My favorite track, not that Evan has a favorite track, because he's very only listened to it slightly, is the next track, Oceans. Yes. They're a cool band. They're cool people. They're a cool band. They're from the East Coast, I think. I might be wrong about that. Like, I know their record label is out of Los Angeles, but I think they're from the East Coast. But don't quote me on that, because I might be wrong. I just got back from the East Coast a couple of weeks ago. That was cool. Had a lot of fun. I went to New York. I went to the Met, which was fucking pretty cool. I went to Yankee Stadium and I saw the New York Bankies play the Seattle Marine Timers, and the Mariners fucking spanked the Yankees.
No way.
So you guys will know exactly. If you follow baseball, you'll know exactly what day I was there, because it was the only day that the Mariners won, and they won in a fucking landslide. It was like 9-1.
I didn't know the M's were. Is that what they don't? Are they doing good at all, or was that just
the Mariners? The Mariners are doing great this season.
Oh,
yeah.
No way.
Which is funny because typically they're not that good, but they're doing pretty good this season.
I got to get my fair weather stuff going.
Yeah, right.
Just joking. I don't have any.
When are we gonna go to a fucking M's game, dude? I don't think you've ever been.
I'm too scared of getting hit in the face with a baseball.
That's why you buy a glove, stupid.
There's literally a 1 in 5,000 chance that'll happen.
It does happen.
And I don't want that to happen. I'm so scared.
I really want to go to a baseball game with you and Drake and Julie. I think that's her name. I feel really bad. I'm pretty sure I'm right though.
Oh, what, his girlfriend?
Yeah, his girlfriend. Well, because they've been dating for like as long as we've known Drake, and we've known Drake for like 5 years. But we've only ever hung out like twice. Okay, whatever. I don't feel that bad. I feel kind of bad, but I do still really want to go to a baseball game. I love baseball, believe it or not. I don't ever talk about it, but I do love it. But yeah, my trip to New York, what the fuck? It was dope. I saw my kid brother graduate. I was super proud. I cried a little.
No way.
Yeah. He graduated with his master's and his bachelor's in the same day. Did I tell you that? He graduated magna cum laude. Really,
what
really
an overachiever.
Cool. Yeah, I know. Little asshole. Tried to show me up at his own graduation.
He's just going to work at a grocery store for the rest of his life, so he doesn't need that.
No, he's working on getting his CPA.
CPA.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know. Certified public asshole. But what the hell
That's
else did I
a
do
shame.
in New
I always
York?
thought he was such a nice kid.
I know.
Now he's got to be an asshole. For the
I went and saw fucking Hamilton on Broadway, dude. That was awesome. That was so cool. If you haven't seen Hamilton, okay. If you haven't seen Hamilton, I would strongly recommend seeing Hamilton in your nearest area and convenience. It's pretty cool. It's very cool. The cast is very largely POC. It was very cool to see our founding fathers played as such. Frankly, the music was really tight and awesome, and in this case, I mean tight meaning that it was literally tight. It was very well performed. It was awesome. I really recommend it. It was cool. It was a cool thing. It was not what I was expecting from a musical, frankly, but I was very pleasantly surprised. Saw Times Square, Central Park, all those cool things.
That's cool.
I saw a purveyor of crack giving a hand job in an alley. That's not true.
A fan of crack.
An enthusiast of narcotics.
Narcotic
and
enthusiast.
potentially amphetamines. No, New York was cool. I wouldn't want to live there. Well, let me rephrase that. I wouldn't want to live in New York City, and that's by no means of offense to anyone that lives in New York City. I don't like cities. I don't like cities like that. But it was cool. I had fun. I frankly would say though, any sort of bizarre feelings of loyalty aside, I would much rather live in New York City than Seattle. And I do mean that very sincerely. Namely because, like, I think a lot of the people that live in New York feel kind of, like, cold and indifferent. But a lot of the people that live in Seattle, frankly, are fucking assholes. And I don't feel bad about saying it. If that offends you, you're probably one of those people. And I'm not saying that to say, like, they're, like, anything other than exactly that. They're, like, strictly assholes. Like, if you bump into somebody in New York, like, they're probably not going to say anything. They'll just go on with their life. If you bump into somebody in Seattle, they'll, like, try and fucking ruin your day. I just...
You know what? I've always thought a great, like, example of how I generally think of people who live in Seattle, downtown Seattle specifically, is...
Yeah, that's what I mean.
How I think of people, residents of Seattle, is remember many years ago many years ago when the SPD killed shot and killed that Native American man who was holding his carving knife, and they believed that he was going to kill him or something, and the SPD policeman shot and killed him. I remember seeing a short video of, I don't remember how the video was taken, maybe some kind of dash cam footage. I believe that's what it was. Of course, it wasn't actually showing the murder, but there was a gunshot. But there was a young woman walking down the street as it happened, and she heard the gunshot. She flinched, and then just immediately just went back to just walking like normal. And to me, like, that's just like the attitude of like, I don't give a fuck about anything.
Oh my god. Okay.
Wow, that was annoying for a second.
Yeah, it was annoying that somebody someone fucking
I'm
died
walking to school
in front
real
of
quick.
me.
So can you stop that bullshit?
I have to be able to get my fucking
that.
frappe before class.
It's like you could have like jumped and like picked up your phone and called 911, or you could have, of course, obviously it was the police.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
did it.
Wait a minute.
But I mean, dude, I feel like if I was walking down the street and heard a gunshot, I would react completely differently.
Well, I've seen similar things in person where like someone would get mugged, and the person getting mugged is like, "Oh my god, someone help!" And like the mugger will like run past people, and people are just like, "Ugh, what the fuck?" Like they don't pay it any mind. It's like, dude, you could have tried to stop that guy. Like you just don't fucking care that another person genuinely needed your help.
Yeah, as I get older and older, I'm more fucking annoyed and upset by like extreme like passive aggressiveness. Like,
absolutely.
Just like, I don't give a shit what you're trying to say or do.
Yeah.
And nothing is important except what is important to me.
Yep. 100%. And I have to say, like, when I hear people sing the praises of Seattle, frankly, I don't fucking get it. And that's exactly, like, that's largely, I'll say, why I don't get it. And, like, everything that Seattle has going on for it, which almost makes me laugh saying that out loud, everything that Seattle has going on for it is so, like, facsimile and few and far between. Like, well, yeah, but Seattle has the Space Needle, and that's pretty cool. The Space Needle is fucking lame, dude. Other than, like, to look at and take a picture of, like, just like it's just, it's lame. Seattle's lame, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I don't feel bad about saying that either.
Yeah, there's a funny enough, a Nirvana lyric that I just love that, like, I think, Kurt Cobain wrote a lyric that was really, really on point as to how I feel about Seattle. It's Francis Farmer Will Have Her Revenge on Seattle. Nice. I've always loved that song. I love that album, In Utero. That's such an amazing fucking album. But Oh, here's the lyrics. I got them.
We definitely have very different opinions on what amazing is.
In her false witness, we hope that you're still with us to see if they float or drown. Our favorite patient, a display of patience, disease-covered Puget Sound. She'll come back as fire to burn all the liars and leave a blanket of ash on the ground. It's like that is just like how I feel about Seattle a lot of the times.
That being said, though...
But it's also like Enema by Tool. It's not Los Angeles.
I was getting that too. Yeah.
It's just like fucking...
That being said,
flush
though...
it down.
I like New York City. I definitely want to go back to New York City, so maybe I will. But I really enjoyed Albany, which is where I was staying, which I've been told is not pronounced Albany 100 fucking times. I said Albany, and I made New Yorkers everywhere cringe. Like, no, it's Albany. You have to say Albany. It's Albany. Like, okay. Anyways, so yeah, I went to Albany, and I spent most of my time in Albany.
Montreal.
No, I wanted to go to Montreal, but I wasn't able to. We didn't have the time. I went to P-Chop, Price Chopper, and I bought some Groks. I went to what are other New York things? I went to Dunkin' Donuts, which is more of an East Coast thing. Got myself some coffee. I got myself a rainbow bagel in NYC, and their bagels are certainly 100 fucking times better than I've had them anywhere else. There's fucking amazing New York bagels. New York bagels are so good that I bought 15 of them to take home on the plane, and I still have like half of them in my freezer.
No way.
Fucking awesome. Yeah, so if anybody wants a giant rainbow bagel the size of your head, hit me up, Scooter. But
yes, Scooter.
Yes, Scooter. But I also spent time in Utica, which I hope anyone listening to this knows anything about Utica. Well, technically I spent time just outside of Utica in Rome, New York, not to be mistaken with Rome, Italy, but Utica, man, what a fucking weird place. So apparently Utica is notorious for doing things that are odd and then saying it's a Utica thing, and I love that.
Keep Portland weird.
I think I was talking boy.
Keep Austin weird.
It's a Utica thing.
It's a Utica thing. It's a eunuch thing.
They have this thing in Utica, and I wish I could describe it better. Frankly, it actually makes me angry that I can't describe it better because it's so fucking good, but it sounds so basic. But they have this thing in Utica called tomato pie, and I think anybody from Utica that would hear this would be upset with my description of it, and I'm kind of okay with that, but it's more or less cold pizza, but it's just like cold cheese pizza, but they have like Parmesan instead of mozzarella on the top, and they have a shitload of Parmesan, or maybe they have mozzarella too, I don't know, but the one that I had just had Parmesan. But it's like a really like thick doughy pizza, so it's almost between like bread and like pizza dough, and just really delicious umptuous tomato sauce and Parmesan, and it's fucking awesome. It's better than any pizza I've ever had, and it's not quote unquote not pizza. Tomato pie, chicken riggies are fucking great. Black and white cookies, a lot of weird Utica things. They're
chicken
fucking awesome.
pizza.
Chicken people? What did you say?
I said chicken pizza. Chichen Itza?
Yeah, Chichen Itza. Evan and I went to Mexico once, and they were taking us to Chichen Itza, the Mayan ruins. I believe they were Mayan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, over in the old Yucatan Peninsula.
And our tour guide insisted on calling Chichen Itza chicken pizza over and over again. We'll make our way to Chichen Itza.
Because he loved
chicken
making
pizza.
old white ladies laugh.
Yeah.
And they thought it was such a hoot.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, New York was dope. I definitely want to go back. If anybody has any areas in New York or the greater area, because I had to go through New Jersey even too. New Jersey and New York, any of those greater areas, it's like, oh dude, you gotta go check out blah blah blah. I do plan on taking a lot more time next time, so let me know. Or if anybody wants to hang out, let me know. Hang out. I'll go to a show if you got a show at the time I'm going. I'll go to 2 shows even, but I won't go to 3. Fuck a 3 show.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, New York is cool.
How would you know?
Oh.
You should go with me next time. Come with. You can go to the Met.
I want to go to
all
the
artsy sites.
I want to go to the One World Trade Center.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to there.
Yeah.
I also didn't get to go to Ground Zero, which was really unfortunate, for the now 9/11 memorial. I also didn't go to Battery Park to see the Statue of Liberty, which I'm completely okay with. But those 2 other things I would have liked to have done. I went to Rockefeller. That was cool.
Interesting.
I went to apparently the only Nintendo store that exists in the world, which is kind of cool.
Huh. Isn't that cool?
Isn't that cool?
I love me some Matteo.
I got that little Shy Guy over there.
That's cool.
Little Shy Guy Plus, because they're fucking adorable.
I should have asked for some Matteo merch.
Should have. I would have. Probably.
Love Mario.
I did get a Nintendo Hydro Flask though. Did you ever see that? That's cool. I do know that you love Mario. Speaking of, did you see Super Mario Maker 2 is coming out?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I noticed that.
You noticed that I'm excited?
Yeah.
That's why your hand's on my thigh. Okay, anyways. Evan, are you about ready for the 3rd pick?
Do the 3rd pick.
Do the 3rd pick. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks to Small Talks, Kaylee, and
yeah, sorry I didn't talk
band.
about the music a lot, but
Yeah,
it's
seriously.
great. It's groovy. I like it.
Asshole.
Really good. I would definitely, play this in my car. Anyways, yeah. Okay. I can tell you're all trying to transition out. I just won't shut my mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
I just won't shut my goddamn mouth.
You're still doing it.
I swear to God. I'll just stop talking.
On with the next pick.
You'll see.
And on with our 3rd pick, we have I Am the Morning, all one word, with their newest album, Ocean Sounds, wasting no time getting in with their track Inside. Oh man. Wait. Oh, okay. Anyways. I Am the Morning, I feel I should explain a little. They're from Russia, which is cool. However, they are actually a major release artist, and while I make it a huge point to never include major release artists, it has been my experience between the people who I know personally who are very into progressive music and the greater prog snob community, I have never talked to anyone or heard from anyone who has ever heard of this band. And I know, they were featured in Prog Magazine. They've been, they've received all sorts of reviews and accolades and everything. But frankly, I think the band is too good to be as under the radar as they are. So I'm still featuring them, despite my usual ruling saying otherwise.
I think they're like a perfect pick, really. I mean, one.
And obviously they are female fronted, yeah.
And very beautifully female fronted.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just, the voice is really, really beautiful, and the music is so disparately different than the other artists on the list, but also, again, as I said at the top of the show, well-rounded, because I think this band fits in really well with our as part of our list, because yes, they are in K-Scope, which at least to us is a major label.
I would absolutely say it's a major label. Yeah. When you see Steven Wilson is on K-Scope and major progressive artists, it's
well, I think Steven Wilson for his last album signed to Caroline Records or something.
What is it?
So a major label that isn't. I think it's called Caroline Records, which is a division of some other major record label. But anyhow,
I've been noticing a lot of progressive artists are going the way of Inside Out recently, which I think is really cool. Frank.
Yeah, but this band is great because they do have that connection to Stephen Wilson, who is in K-Scope, which is an artist and label, respectively, that is incredibly fond to. We're very fond of his art and his work.
Whose art?
Mr. Stephen Wilson.
I know you meant.
And I think that's just it's a nice connection. I never really listened to this band very much, but
I just realized Gavin Harrison was on this. That's really cool.
And Colin Edmund.
Oh yeah, Jesus, how'd I miss that? And that guy whose name I can never fucking pronounce, even though he's a part of Riverside, which is another very major progressive band. Anyways, Gavin Harrison is the single best drummer in the world. Fight me.
Or sponsor me.
Gavin Harrison, fight me or sponsor me. No, I'm kidding. It's not a fight I would want. I'd take the sponsorship though. But Gavin Harrison, definitely the best drummer that there is. And I'm not going to back down from that.
Gavin Harrison, talk about our show on your platform, or we will personally fly to your house and fight you.
Gavin Harrison also featured in The Pineapple Thief, one of my favorite bands of all time. Porcupine Tree, easily one of my favorite bands of all time. And now King Crimson, which is one of the best progressive rock bands of all time. And that's not me saying it's one of my favorites as much as that they are essentially objectively one of the best prog groups ever. So very prolific drummer, very phenomenal drummer.
Let's say we're just I think this is a nice worldly list too, because look at that, we got a band here from the Russian Federation, and our first band was from the UK, and the other one is from the United States, from the East Coast. And it's man, we're just hitting all corners.
This is a DannyVNCR list because it wasn't. Well, where's this band from? Well, let's take a guess. Japan.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
still
Evan,
trying to find
come
all those
on.
Antarctica bands.
There
are not a lot of artists on Antarctica right now.
Well,
the scene is kind of
penguinous.
It's a certain sound. I'm not crazy.
It's a bunch of weird cause.
Yeah,
but I do love I Am the Morning. I love all of these bands, frankly.
And I love the impressionist art that they have as their aesthetic too. It's just really beautiful.
Very Van Gogh-ish.
And I like too that it's this is truly progressive in the way that it's this could be metal. They could be using guitars, and they could have things that make it sound like rock and metal. But it's not.
They have some
aspects.
They have some aspects in some territories, and they have it's more it feels more driven in that way. But as you'll see in their description, if you can see this, it says chamber prog.
It is, legit.
Which is exactly
which is totally novel.
Really
come on,
cool,
think of another artist or band who does this. I'm not going to say that I'm the wisest person when it comes to different types of music, but this is definitely novel.
I'll say that right now. I'll say it to your stupid face.
And I would say that Kate Bush would be one person who sometimes does music like this. And of course, she's another great example of an amazing female artist who not only is an amazing artist in her own right, but she's amazingly managed her own career and not needed men. In fact, she has famously defied men's advice in how her career should go, and was all the better for it.
It's too bad we don't do a separate podcast where we just talk about very famous musicians and our opinions on them, because I would love to talk about Kate Bush. Although, before losing my idea, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this is not a a traditional album. I think it was a bunch of songs brought together in like one playing session. And I think that's why The Bell up there is their most recent album, and then there was Lighthouse beforehand, which was very great. I did love Lighthouse, and that's what got me into this band a while ago. That's not going to stop me from enjoying it or my coffee.
What are their buying options? They got a digital, but they have any kind
I think
of...
it's only digital for this one. Yeah. But, yeah, I believe there are other ones. Wait a minute.
I love their aesthetic.
That's interesting. It says, hang on. It said The Bell was to come out in February of 2019, but that happened a while ago, and it's not listed here. I wonder if it just wasn't on Bandcamp, or if it just didn't happen. Now I have to know. I don't typically do this, but we're gonna do a little bit of Googling.
Dr. Google.
Announcement. Oh, there it is. It's on Burning Shed, so it exists. $19 for a vinyl. God damn. Oh no, it's a pre-order. Oh yeah, 19 euros. Is that? Yeah, you're right. That's pounds. But it's a pre-order. When's it supposed to be coming out?
Which still shouldn't be that much. It's probably only like $30.
I do have CD. It looks too. Yeah, but still, like, yeah, and it says it's a pre-order availability.
Go back to the
so
last
weird.
page real quick.
I'll have to look into this further.
Inspired by 19th century song cycles, a style established by Schubert. That's cool. That's really interesting. Stories of pain caused by human cruelty. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm going to look into that later, but for now, back to the task at hand.
Evan.
How you doing?
Oh my god. Just kidding.
Oh my god!
You know, this kind of honestly reminds me of a person I can maybe just give a shout out to a little bit is
shoot.
Guy
standing outside the window.
Yes, the guy sitting. Okay, no, the artist who, I mean, I'm sure you'll think of it as I describe it because I forget her artist name, but the who Joy plays with or was playing with in Bellingham.
Hooves and Beak?
Hooves and Beak. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's either Hooves and Beak or the Living Arrow that you're referring to.
Hooves and Beak,
yeah,
definitely.
Hooves and Beak. I think she still plays with Hooves and Beak.
Yeah. Let's give a shout out to her real quick. I mean, that's great. It reminds me kind of.
I can't remember her name, but yeah, the band name. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I do think there's some similarities. I wouldn't call them like overwhelming similarities, but similarities. Hooves and Beak is really cool. Go check them out at
and mainly just
Twitter.
Also our good friend Joy's.
Fuck Joy. I'm just kidding.
Fiddler.
Joy Westerman with Hooves and Beak and Blue Star out of Bellingham, Washington. Blue Star was a band that we worked with once upon a midnight jury.
Now I have that song stuck in my head.
Nice. Where she worked with Anthony Bailey, also of Blue Star. I don't know if he's doing anything else musically, but yeah, she is also with Hooves and Beak, I believe, still. And Hooves and Beak is cool. And Blue Star. Check them both out. I know Blue Star has an album coming out in the future. I'm not sure how soon.
Why you wanna give me the run around?
Jesus. But yeah. It's pretty cool. She's cool people. Maybe she'll listen to this, I don't know. What's up, Joy? You doing good? Yeah. Oh yeah. Full circle.
Full circle.
I like circles. Circles are cool.
Yeah.
Hey Joy, by the way, you still haven't told me when the concert is. So if you're listening to this, go ahead and text me when your student's concert is, because she's a teacher. care. She's a teacher. She teaches music to people who don't know it or only know it kind of. So if you're a parent in the Bellingham area and you think, well, I've needed a teacher for a while, well, there you go. Joy Westerman at Bellingham Music? Is that the name of the place?
Bellingham Music.
Bellingham Music. There you go. Nice, deep shout out. I'm fucking hungry. Woof. That was the wrong pipe.
You're hitting that crack pipe.
Yeah. I loaded some tobacco into my crack pipe. Wrong pipe.
I find it funny how there's a song called 5/4, and I wonder if it's just like in 5/4. It's just
I don't know. A lot of bands do that. Chalk and Coal, though, I want to put that on after this one because Chalk and Coal was the song that got me into this band. It was off of Lighthouse, and then we might dang diddly wrap on up. Unless Evan has something else he wants to talk about. Trying to earn you a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. But yeah, I have not heard this version of Chalk and Coal, so that'll be cool. Much darker. Dude. Evan's trying to get me to watch funny internet videos while we're recording. It's that one of Winnie the Pooh, but he's like super buff.
I've never been fine. Of all the incurable suffering, they only offer some pills that will make me sick. No, not again. Not again. Not again. I'm living inside this hell.
How have you been holding up with working on your addiction, by the way, Evan? Since we were talking about drugs.
addiction.
Evan's been addicted recently to taking raspberries and putting them up his nose and walking around and going, Ma! Ma! I've got a nosebleed, Ma!
I'm into a
really
different kind of raspberry. I'm talking.
So stupid.
I'm not a gross boy. That stuff.
I don't do that stuff. Well, coffee's gone. No more to choke on.
Gotta find other stuff to choke on now.
Thanks, Brown Sugar Bourbon, for making my coffee taste slightly better. And also making me loose. I would have put Woodinville whiskey in there, but frankly, I drink that shit straight. It's too good to put in coffee. You heard it here again.
Woodinville whiskey.
God!
God, I love this shit, man. It's delicious. I drink that shit like every night, pretty much.
Same.
I do. I put a little bit in a glass. If I'm feeling in a particular mood, I'll put like just one ice cube.
As much as I want to hear that, listen to this music. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Isn't that shit fat? That is fat with a PH, dog with a D or WG. AWG. Anyways, Woodinville whiskey is tight. Well, goodbye. Evan, anything you want to say as we close out?
No.
Really?
I think I've said my piece.
You have big hair hanging off your microphone.
I know. It's disgusting. Well, that's a little, you know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, well, we've had a lot of fun today. We talked about some important things.
I just kissed my microphone all European style.
I'd like to, real quick, just say, we made just like really weird ASMR for somebody. Ooh, I was not expecting that. Okay, so anyways, yeah, what are the usual tropes we go with? Don't smoke meth, practice safe sex, all of those things.
I feel like we should start saying that at the top of the show, because I think that message is so important that people aren't getting it until the very end of the show.
Well, when they're already asleep.
Yeah, when they're already asleep, and so they're thinking about meth, and they're thinking about.
I wonder how many people have actually smoked meth while listening to this. Then we get to the end and we say, "Don't smoke meth." They're like, oh well, shit.
Yeah, don't smoke meth and watch the show unless you're going to
Unless you really want to.
Unless you really feel so much more passionately about the show that you want to disseminate it, and that you want to. I was about to say buy our merch, but we don't have merch.
Not yet.
Not yet, but we'll soon, because
no, we won't.
Great. Yeah, we will.
What?
Yeah, we will. I'll make a couple shirts.
All right.
I'll make I'll just buy a mug and sign it and put a little artwork on it. It'd be cool.
Okay.
The Etsy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Open a little Etsy store.
Okay. Well, don't drink and drive. Don't do anything you couldn't do on a bicycle. Have a good night or a good day, or whatever. And don't.
Holy shit.
The turkey.
The turkey.
Him was a good boy. Good night, everybody.
Night.